Welcome back to one more episode of Star Realty Podcast. This is Camila from MCN Marketing Firm, and today I have the pleasure and the honor to have David Regina. Hi, David. Thank you so much for making it all the way here. How you feeling? How was the ride?
I'm feeling great, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the entire team here for having me, for the hospitality. I know that we met at A to B Con, so it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here. And then also, I just want to remind everybody that it's very important to take a moment to just be grateful every single day, because 170,000 people did not wake up today.
Oh, my God.
But you and I did. The person that's listening did. And the fact that they're tuned into this podcast and they want to learn more about entrepreneurship and all the good things that you guys got going on is the most important step. So now that you're here, it's now our responsibility to make the best of it. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God, what a beautiful intro. What a beautiful welcoming, not just for the audience, but for everybody who is listening right now. David, so for those who don't know David yet, he is a God believer, a father of a beautiful daughter, a speaker, author, and a Crohn's survival.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all those hats, right, what is the role that must resonate with you on your day-to-day?
Yeah, I mean, if you were to ask me this question a long time ago, probably would have been really self-centered, just because I was at a different point in my life back then. But today, I'm all about service-based leadership, being of service. And first and foremost, thank you to God, right? I don't put my faith on anybody, but I believe in Jesus, right? And that's who I talk to first thing when I wake up in the morning. I sit with my Bible because I believe that's how I get personally closer to God, right? I ask for some guidance, some wisdom, some protection over all the relationships that are in my life. But if that relationship is good and I'm pouring into that relationship, then I'm able to show up for my girlfriend. I'm able to show up for my beautiful daughter, Callie. So yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing to me is being of service, because a life without service for me is very empty, right? And I lived the wrong way for a long time. And what I mean by that is I made a lot of bad decisions. I was drinking heavily in my 20s, and I'm 35 now. I'll be 36 depending on when this airs in the next, in the fall season here. And I got married young and divorced. And also, I just want to let people know that if you are in that tough relationship or you are struggling in your life, just because that door closed does not mean that same door can't open again. Because I hear a lot of people after they, split up or they have a heartbreak or this or that, it's like, I'm never dating again.
It's over. Yeah.
No, I worked on myself. I went to therapy for 7 years, worked on my mental health, and now I'm in a beautiful, loving relationship with a queen who supports everything that I do.
She's beautiful.
Thank you. Yes, shout out to Catherine. So I just want to say that as well, because that's something I hear often, right? And just because you've made mistakes, it's okay, but you got to own those mistakes, and you can't keep making the same ones over and over again. So I think that answers the question.
You mentioned God and you mentioned faith, and I myself have gone through processes where, trying to have a relationship with God, worshiping, right? Being a woman of faith. I'm married, I have a husband, and Bible says women is the one that guides, the marriage is the guidance, and the man is the one, the provider, right? How were you able to really connect with God, and how has faith shaped your life? Whether has been a moment in your life where you were like, oh my God, like I need to go back to Jesus, because sometimes I was like, certain situations that I went through life, I'm like, I need Jesus in my life. But it's in that until like when we hit rock bottom that we again think about there is a God, there is a faith, there is a church, there's a community. How were you able to connect with them? Was it a long process? You always had it within your culture, your family? Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, I wish I could say that it was always this way, but it absolutely was not. Mom was Jewish growing up, and my dad was Catholic. So dad always went to church, and I was actually baptized and bar mitzvahed. So I was a mess growing up, you know. But from an Italian loving household, you know, certainly some challenges and tribulations. We could talk about that as well. But my mom, she was actually addicted to drugs and alcohol for the first 28 years of my life. I want to be very clear. She's sober now. She is my best friend and my inspiration. But, you know, it was a very dark time. And she got to the point that, you know, she had lost her job and things really weren't going well. And somehow she was attempting to detox at my house. And the doctors out in Greenwich Hospital had given me Xanax at the time is what she was addicted to. So they, you know, told me to give her one sugar pill and then one real pill. But every time I would give her the sugar pill, it's like she knew that was sugar. She was like, I need the real thing. I need the real thing, you know?
You're not going to fool me.
Yeah, you're not going to fool me. So it was in the middle of the night. I believe it was November 30th, 2017 to be exact. And she was knocking on my door every 5 minutes. David, I need my pills. David, I need my pills. And then finally I kind of snapped because it was probably 2 or 3 in the morning. And I lost my patience with her. And I went into the room and I poured every pill that I can into my hand and I told her to take them. And I said, unless a higher power can save you, there's nothing that I could do for you. So she started crying and she said, you want me to die? I said, no, I of course I don't want you to die, but you know, I just want you to be happy and this is just too much. So she took one pill, a woman who's been addicted for, you know, 20, 30 years. She takes one pill and her eyes roll to the back of her head and her head hit the headboard. And I thought that she just died in front of me. And it was weird because this strange like calm kind of came over me at that time. Almost like something holy or some spiritual power was in the room.
Energy.
Yeah, energy. And, you know, I looked at her and I could tell that she was breathing. So I don't know if I did the right thing, but I just went back to sleep. I went back to sleep. And 5 hours went by, which was the longest time frame that she was actually able to sleep. And she comes back 5 hours later and she knocks on my door and I look up and I see her. And she said, David, I'm ready to get sober.
Oh.
And in that moment, I knew that that higher power was listening. And here's the craziest part about that. That higher power changed her life immediately because she went into a rehab. 30 days later, she came out and she never touched a substance again to this day.
Good.
However, I did not. You would think at that moment, I kind of just shifted my whole life. And I didn't do that. But that was the first real spark of me knowing that there was this higher power. So then I tried at that time to really get my life together, and I did make some significant changes.
Were you married at the time?
I was married at this time, yeah.
How
And I
old
had
were
actually
you?
just come out of an affair at that time as well.
Okay.
You know, I got to a point where
You were early 20s.
yeah, I was early 20s. At this point, I was probably 26. And, you know, I found myself in an affair just because I was seeking temporary happiness. And this is a problem that I see with, you know, all of the people that I work with now. We chase happiness and we put our happiness in temporary things, right? Drinking, vices, gambling, pornography, late nights out, women, all the things. And that's why your happiness is temporary because you're placing it in something that's very temporary. So I got to a place where I just stripped down and just said everything. I was like, look, this is what's going on in my life. I'm having an affair, blah, blah, blah. Owning all my mistakes, checked into therapy. Yes. Check into therapy at this time. I really fall in love with the process of therapy. And I did not like therapy growing up at all because I had a really bad experience when I was 15, 16 years old. But then I was fully into it. I started making little changes, i.e. when I would go to the gym, instead of listening to rap music, I would put on something motivational. I would put on a podcast, listening to entrepreneurship, business, and stopped listening to the things that I was listening to because I found myself doing the things that I was listening to. And then along the way, I started listening to Joel Osteen, who is a Christian pastor. And, you know, he's kind of corny, but for me,
Everyone says that.
Yeah, for me, the things that he was saying, he was able to tie like biblical knowledge and word to motivational speaking. So I just started working out to that. And, you know, from there was a long process of, I mean, even till now, I'm still working on myself. But I would say 2017 is that time frame that really started to shift my life. But then after that, I ended up getting the divorce, and there were so many other things that went wrong in my life at the time.
Kind of
So
like a roller
yeah, but
coaster.
that's life, right? You can't just get to a place to where, oh my God, it's just all sunshine and
Perfect. Yeah.
rainbows. I mean, because if it is, you might be in heaven at that time. So, like I would worry about it if life was just perfect all the
Yeah.
time.
It'll be boring too.
But what I've noticed is, my prayer, right? And people pray, and I pray every single day. But a common misconception in prayer, a lot of us, we go to God, you go to your higher power, and you sit with it, and you say, God, bless me in abundance, keep me healthy, keep me safe, keep me protected. I want to reach my financial goals. I want to do ABC. And God, I believe, says, okay, but I'm not going to just put you there. I'm going to put you through the things that need to be done to get you there.
To get you there, yeah.
But that's when, like you were talking about, that's where a lot of people feel like, oh my God, are you even listening to me?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, he's just telling you that you're not prepared yet. So you need to go through these trials and tribulations to get clear on your own life. And that's what happened to me. So it's been a process of some years. Hopefully that makes sense.
I'm getting the chills because this is a very touchy topic, especially being Catholic too. But like you said, you had two different religions, right?
Yes.
And you were pulled differently. And I always been like, why do we get baptized when we have no conscience, right? And our parents choose with religion we have to go with, right? And
Yes.
it's not until we grow up and that we go through experiences, whether they're bad or good, that we kind of believe there is a God, okay, religion, okay, church. But it's very interesting because you don't see many people, and I said like you, because you have done the work and you are where you are right now, and you openly talk about this, right?
Yes.
So here I have a very successful man that I admire a lot ever since I heard you with the story with the mom and how you are a father. Now, talking about being a father of a beautiful daughter,
Yes.
only child.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
She's my
When you
only.
became a father, what age?
I was 30.
30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 30. Okay. So you think it's a good age, right? But you don't
Perfect.
know anything, right? You
Yeah.
don't know
Yep.
anything about anything. Any lesson, any one very memorable lesson your daughter have given you?
So many. Every day is a lesson. But I think you learn a lot about yourself, right? As a parent. And what I've noticed, and from the beginning, I was a little vulnerable with my daughter. I was at a vulnerable time in my life because me and her mother split when she was about 1.5 years old. And something that I constantly hear from parents is like, oh, I'll wait when my child goes to sleep to then clean the house, to then do all the chores and the responsibilities. I was so tired in my life because I was just learning how to pretty much have my daughter. I was in a co-parenting situation. So I had her by myself 50% of the time. So 3 and 4 nights a week, she would be with me. I didn't know how to wash her private parts properly. I didn't know how to brush her hair to make it, as nice as it was for mom. I didn't know all the things. So I really just learned with her. And I think parents, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be perfect. Whereas your child doesn't really want you to be perfect. Your child just wants you to be present, right? So presence is the most important thing. And then with presence, there's 2 forms of presence. You could be presence and patient, or present and impatient. So now I really try to be present and patient because children will test you, and they'll frustrate you. But I do believe that, children are gifts from God. And God placed this little individual in your arms to now be influenced by you, right? So your everyday actions and the way that you move through life become their habits, their routines. And now my 5-year-old, she does the dishes with me. She wakes up and we make the bed because it's healthy habits. She cooks with me. She does everything. But, I was not perfect at all along the way, and I still lose my patience. But I would say those are the most, important lessons, I think, that I
Beautiful.
learned from parenting.
Have she changed the way you lead now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
How that relationship has shaped your leadership?
That's a great question, and something I don't actually talk about all the time. But I am very routined and regimented in my life. And I used to struggle a lot if my routine would get thrown off.
Mm-hmm.
And now what my daughter has taught me is that there's ways to pivot, and you can't be just structured all the time. So my leadership has shifted in a way of like, I don't have to live a militant lifestyle and work out at 5 a.m. every single morning, because if my daughter is sick and she's throwing up at 2 a.m, it's probably better for me to work out at 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's given me the ability to feel as though, you know what, I can go off of my routine a little bit and still get my essentials done. And then also I used to have a real big addiction to working out in a bad way. Like if I missed a day of working out, I felt like my life was over. So Callie has really taught me that like there's much more important things and priorities that need to be done prior to just setting a schedule and sticking to it.
Switch it up, buddy. Work
You
it
know?
out.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And a lot of people have the reverse, right? Like they're not structured and they want structure. But here I am. I'm probably the most disciplined and consistent person that you'll ever meet. And then I needed to adapt and be able to adopt a lifestyle of like just being okay with a difference in
Changes.
flow.
Yeah. I have heard a lot of other friends saying, you know, I had a crazy life and my kid comes and put me on a schedule and now I have a structure. Now I'm organized.
Right.
So hearing the
Yep.
difference,
Absolutely.
it's actually funny. Now that we talk about leadership, I would like to say congratulations on your new book, your first book, right?
Yes, thank you so much.
It's called 30 Lessons to Lead. It just released.
Yep.
Tell me how you thought about writing this book, why, what motivated you. Tell us a little bit about your book.
No, thank you so much. So it's not something I really ever planned to do, to be honest. I just didn't. But I wanted to get closer, and it all comes back to God for me. I wanted to get closer spiritually. So I had never done a fast before, just water fast, right?
Okay.
And the concept of doing a water fast is multiple reasons. You have the health reasons where
Tell us what's the water fast?
What's a water fast? Where you just drink water
all day.
That's it, all day for 5 days.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I did it for spiritual reasons.
What?
I wanted to get closer to God because apparently, you have all these cancer cells in your body, and when you don't feed it food, those cancer cells can actually die off. It's called the process of autophagy.
Wow.
So paired with me wanting to get closer spiritually, I also was like, hey, you know what? I have the Crohn's disease. I have a lot of cancer cells in my body. Let me try this. And before I did it, I had wrote this prayer out, and I just said, listen, God, I want to hear you. And, I feel like food is distracting, and I want to challenge myself. I challenge myself physically, but it's not enough. I need to challenge myself mentally. I need to do something a little bit different. So for a period of probably 2 to 3 months, my girlfriend fasts. She's done like a 7-day. She's like an elite fasting.
Wow.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
It's possible.
Oh, it's possible. Yeah. So I was toying with this idea for a while, and I said, you know what? I'm in. So on day 1 of my water fast, I was sitting in the sauna. And I don't advise it. Like, I don't advise, go work. Don't go work out crazy and sit in the sauna. This is not a health podcast here, all right? But this is just what I did, so don't take this advice. Yeah. But I worked out, and I'm sitting in the sauna, and I'm doing my meditation, which I do daily. And I saw myself speaking on a big stage. And this is in the meditation. And I'm visualizing, and, I'm stepping on stage, and I'm speaking to the crowd, and I'm looking at the crowd and making eye contact, and they're shaking their heads, and, they're into the message. And then in the meditation, I saw a screen behind me, and a QR code popped up, and it just said like leadership on it. And I didn't really know what it was. And then I stayed in the meditation, and I saw all these people taking their phones out, scanning this QR code. And at that time, I felt that it was a book.
It hit you.
Yeah, I felt it was a book. So I was like, oh my God. I wake up out of this meditation, and I'm like, wait, I'm going to speak down in Atlanta in front of 25,000 people in about 2.5 months. How can I write a book this fast? So I started thinking to myself, I said, okay, obviously the book has to be on leadership. And then I had this lady in my head. Her name is Mary Bell Attiri. and she's a friend of mine, and she writes romance books and children's books. And I was like, that's the only person that I really know that has like written a book before. So like, I need to reach out to Mary and maybe see if I start writing this thing, how she can kind of guide me in the right direction. On my way to work from that meditation, guess who I get a text message from?
From Mary.
From Mary. Right? So Mary texts me about like asking me something completely different. She had a podcast, so it might have been something in regard to her podcast.
That happens to me once in a while.
Yeah, so I said, Mary, like, I need to talk to you, and I'm going to call you. So I end up calling her, and she's like, that's a great idea. Like, you know, go ahead, start writing. I said, say less. I'm in this fast right now. And I literally just got back to my desk, and I just started thinking about leadership. And I wrote down key words that I know to be true in leadership, right? Integrity, influence, resilience, service, communication, all the things in leadership. And there was about 50 of them. And it was just like on a scrap paper. So then I said, okay, let me take one of them and try to write a chapter on it. What would I do to write this chapter? So for discipline, right? Just using that as an example. I was able to— You
got that down.
Yeah, I was able to explain in my own words what discipline is. And then I was able to attach a personal story of how I have developed discipline in my life, and then also attach a reflection question for the reader to ask themselves and an action step that they can take in their life right now, today, to move the needle forward in terms of discipline. Beautiful. That took me about 2 hours to do for one. So I narrowed it down to the 30, and I literally wrote this book in about 57 hours. And I did the majority of it during a water fast. So that's how it came about. And the book is very unique because it is for leaders at every level. It's for the busy entrepreneur, the busy parent, the professional athlete, the government employee, anybody that is trying to make significant progress in their lives. And not only those that are making progress, but those that are already living a life of discipline. Right now, I'm currently rereading my own book and taking the action steps, because every time you do it, you take 30, I call them needle movers. It's 30 needle movers to move your life forward. I'll never say that any book is transformational besides the Bible, right? Because the Bible has transformed my life. But if you take the action steps and the reflective questions that are in this book, you will absolutely make significant progress in your own life, no matter where you are. And that's a guarantee. Or you can just read it, take it as information, and put it on the bookshelf. That's up to you. But I've created something that I still, to this day, am able to move forward in my life.
And that you read it.
You
read your own book.
Well, you have to.
Over and over, because there is so much you work on that there are things that are left behind, and you can kind of like, here's a reminder. You see people how being connected and spiritually with God, or the God you believe in, right? Because there's multiple cultures that believe in different gods, can have mental clarity, right?
Yep.
It could be the fasting too. It could be like, your body going through this detox that constantly we get ideas and we think it's a crazy idea, or it's God gives us those ideas, and it's up to us to go and act on it like he did. He had it in his meditation, and he went and started reaching out to the people. Your energy attracted the right person to help you out, and here is the book. What is one lesson out of the 30? And you probably, it's going to be a tough question, but what would be that one lesson in the book that you, if people were to read this book, that you would like them to get stuck in their head?
They're all really good, and I'm not just saying that because I threw out probably another 30 of them. So the 30 are the main ones.
Maybe you could do
no, that's fine. I'll give you a couple.
Huh?
Yeah, no, I'll give you a couple. I think the word service is so important. So service-based leadership. Yeah, that's a chapter in the book that's very significant, because a lot of us, we believe in just leading ourselves, right? And the focus is obviously always on the mirror, because you have to take accountability first. But now, once you take that accountability, a lot of people tend to stop and they don't necessarily pay it forward. So I truly believe that when you show up for other people, you are beginning to attract all of these other things in your life. So I think the importance of being of service to others and finding tangible ways to be a leader for them is very important and significant. And then also, I mean, I love, I love integrity. You know, I think integrity is one of the most important things that's often overlooked, because it's very easy to look successful. And a lot of people on Instagram, you're able to see certain things and flaunt the highlight reel. But who are you when nobody is watching? What are the things that you're doing in your life when it's just you? Because the only people that see that are you and the man above. Right? And I would say that those are probably the most important to me, I guess, right now in my own life, right? Making sure that I am living a life of integrity and also being of service to other people. So hopefully that, that sits with some people. But then there's building trust, right? Building trust is so important. There's so many that are in there. But those are two.
I love that because in the Bible there is I don't know how to say in English. I'm so sorry. Passage that talks about serving others. How we are in this world to serve others or brothers.
Yep.
But it does beautiful because it's centered to spirituality, and also says if you have a skill, right, do it proudly, but do it to serve, not to gain money. Or obviously, like everything has a price, obviously, but economy, that how the world runs. But it's like, don't take too much advantage of those who are looking out after you.
Yes.
Right. So that is beautiful. Was there any chapter that make you shake? Writing a book must be very vulnerable.
Yeah, it is. And I chose to put a personal story into every single chapter.
Oh. So every chapter was tough.
Every chapter was tough. But I think, I told a story in there that does, I'm not going to give you the specific chapter that it's in, but I'll give you the story.
Yeah, you have to read it.
So you can go find it. But I was at a very emotional point in my life. I had just gotten, the divorce, and there were nights where my daughter was no longer with me because she would be with her mom. And I had my dog with me. It was just me and Chance, and I had Chance.
What kind of dog is it?
It was a pit bull. Yeah, so I had Chance for 13, 12, almost 13 years. And by this time, I'm living life the right way.
Okay.
I'm waking up and I'm praying, and I had already kind of been sitting with, like, stop going to the clubs and stop making the bad decisions, doing all the.
This is late 20s?
All the right things. Yeah. This is after the early 20s era. But I was at a place now where, like, I was dating around and trying to, like, see the new version of my life. But, like, I at least had my boy with me. And he ended up passing away. Oh. And it was one of the most heartbreaking things for me. And if you don't have pets, you may not understand.
I have 5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, having the one dog that was there to see.
He is like a human.
To see me through that really tough, challenging phase in my life, and then see me turn it around. And, now it's just him and I, and we have this house, and we're living together, and, I would let him jump on the bed and all these things. That one really hurt, and the point in that lesson is, it's never going to get easy, So even though I was able to break through and break free from a lot of the negative behaviors in my life, I at least still had somebody loving and there for me. But then he was taken from me. So then so many nights after that, I didn't mean to make you emotional.
No, that's okay.
But so many nights after that, I would just hear his paws on the wood floor. And I couldn't unhear it. And I kept talking to God. God, why are you torturing me right now? Why are you doing this to me? And the lesson that I got from that was that God needed me to be fully quiet without any level of anybody else and any distraction. And I would challenge people now, how many of you in your life don't have a pet to go to, don't have a friend to go to, don't have a phone call to make? Now, if you just sit with yourself for 10 minutes a day, the thoughts that are going to come to you are going to be significant to begin to create impact and influence in your own life. But you have to get quiet. And that was the lesson for me. I had to learn. Well, that was my takeaway from, losing my pet. So I tell that story in the book, but that was when you asked about the shaking. And I remember, kind of tearing up and just missing him. And he's tattooed on my chest. I've had him forever though. And I had this, I actually had Chance. I had this tattoo when he was 2 years old. Oh. So I didn't wait till he passed away to get him tattooed. Yeah. So, he would be happy to see that. I know we're talking about a dog. Sounds funny, but
no, I love it because it's real connections.
Yeah.
And this is what this line for this podcast is about, getting to know the real human behind all these titles, right? We all have titles. We all try to go for a title, for a certificate, for this, for that, but who really are you, right? And really, what's your story? And this is what I love. Thank you for sharing that.
No,
It
absolutely.
Really
I apologize.
I'm a pet lover and I have 5 and I cannot, if something were to happen to them, like I will go bananas.
Yeah.
But anyways, so let's go back to leadership. Leadership is evolving very fast, right? Social media is tough now. Everyone is doing a podcast. Everybody's doing a book. Everybody's doing some sort of leadership coaching, right, out there. What is one thing about leadership that you're not really agreeing with when it's being promoted, that you hope to change with your book?
I think accountability is the biggest thing. My book is broken up into 3 parts. And it's those 30 chapters, those 30 lessons. But the first 10 are all about accountability, lead from within. The second 10 are about leading with intention, right? So once you look in that mirror, now there's 10 lessons to take you from the mirror to begin to match the action steps with how you're moving in your life. So alignment. And then the third piece is leading to multiply, right? But what I would, to create new leaders and to create, to multiply your leadership. But I think too often we're pointing the finger. You see it in politics, and I'm in local government myself, and I have a real problem with what's going on. And I don't like to even talk about Democrats, Republicans. I like to talk about leadership because I do believe that if we start evaluating our own hearts, you will be able to at least respect the other side. And I have a big problem now with the lack of respect that's going on for the other side. Since when is it not okay to disagree?
Yeah.
Right? So I also think that in my version of leadership, I promote disagreements.
Good.
I want to talk to somebody who has a different view, and I want to be able to internalize and at least empathize with them, because we can't do that today in 2025, right? People are getting killed. People are getting stabbed, shot, murdered.
There's no more freedom of speech.
There's nothing. And it is disgusting out here. And I think leadership is needed now more than ever. And it starts with accountability and looking at yourself before you start judging anybody else. Look in the mirror, take it out, and pick 5 things today that you know that you need to start changing. And do that before you give opinions on somebody else. And I'm guilty of this too. I don't want to make it seem like I'm on the other side of leadership. I'm just hyper aware to it now.
And you did your work.
But it never stops, right? And that's the other thing about leadership is the day that you stop leading is the day that you start dying. In every aspect of life, right? Like I've had Crohn's disease since I was 16 years old. And although, I've gotten to a place to where the Crohn's is in remission, just in April, I was handed a piece of paper that read high risk for colon cancer. And I don't drink anymore. I eat really well. I drink more water than probably 99% of the world. I do all the healthy things, right? But you can't control any of that. And when I was given that piece of paper, you would think that I felt any level.
This year.
Yeah. Any level of, nerves or scared. I didn't. I went right back home. I took a nap because I was on the anesthesia. But then I woke up and I said, I got to pick up my daughter from school. I got to go grocery shopping. I got to meal prep. I got to wake up tomorrow and go work out. I got to make these 5 phone calls to establish this new business relationship. I got to send these emails. I got to have this tough conversation.
Piece of life.
All because the doctor told me, hey, we'll get back to you in a week with the results. I said, a week? you're gonna give me another ulcer waiting a week. Thank God I'm into leadership. So when those tough times come, right, you have to have the ability to keep moving forward. And that's, I think, my strongest message these days is because I live that and I own that. And I know that, like, I can't control tomorrow, but I can control this conversation right now. I could be here with you right now, even though I got 58 other things going on. You chose to be here, to show up with a level of intention, to have a clear, honest conversation here, to help bring value to people. You got so much going on in your life right now. And congratulations, by the way.
It's a boy.
Hey, it's a
You
boy.
got David Regina here, just so you know.
He's listening to all the good stuff
he's
here.
like,
He's starting his leadership journey early. What a blessing. God bless. But yeah,
Crohn's.
everybody has, so much going on.
Crohn's disease. Tell me a little bit, what's Crohn's disease for those that are not familiar?
So internally, you have about 28, I don't know, whether it's 26, 28, 30 feet of intestines inside of us. You have your large intestine, your small intestine, your esophagus, your colon. So Crohn's disease, you develop these white ulcers in the tract of your intestines. And now anytime food hits those ulcers, it's like an irritation. And seeds can get in there, food can get in there, and it causes like a really just bad pain. So for context, I used to weigh, I'm 240 pounds now. But when I was diagnosed with this, I was about 190 pounds in high school, and I lost 40 pounds in 4 months. Yeah. And it was ugly. You're throwing up all day. You got diarrhea all day.
That came when you were 16.
16, yeah. And I've battled that my entire life. I'm still on medication. I'll be on the medication forever. But I live in what's called remission. Just like cancer, you have remission. So I'm in remission. The only thing about Crohn's is that it is chronic, meaning it's forever. Right? Which is a little bit different.
It's not accurate, right?
Like, a little different from irritable bowel syndrome, which a lot of people hear IBS, and gut inflammation and, all those other issues. Crohn's is, you don't want Crohn's. You don't want it.
Heard of it, but
also,
really in detail.
I'll take Crohn's over a lot of other things that are going on in the world right now. And for whatever reason, this is my, my journey. So,
having Crohn's, did that affective, because you had mentioned you were heavily drinking before, right? And knowing that you had Crohn's, knowing that at 16, you still drank, you still party. How were you able to pivot that after? Or was there a time that you ended up at the ER and you were like, Jesus, I need to stop drinking? Or or was it the story with your mom?
So I think it all plays a part, but a lot of people don't know this, but I would intentionally throw up a lot after I would drink because I knew about the effects. And can't even tell you if it's smart to do or not, but I wouldn't even think about it. I would just know that the feeling that I wanted to feel from drinking was a certain feeling, right? I wanted to get drunk.
It's like
I just
a
wanted
high.
I wanted to get drunk. And then late night, I would, probably 70% of the time throw up. And a lot of people probably have never heard this before because I really don't talk about that. So thank you for bringing that out of me. But there was some deep underlying issues there. And like I said earlier, I was chasing happiness in very temporary things. And that is exactly why the happiness was temporary, because those things don't last. And I did that for years. And I thank God that I never had to get hospitalized for it, because I would do.
How blessed we are, huh?
Well, how blessed?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but I would do all the other things though. So I would make sure that I would always have water with me. I would hydrate all day long. If
you knew what you were getting into.
Oh yeah.
So you were
I would
prepared.
prepare as best as possible. Right, but then still take 10 shots of
Sounds
tequila.
like me back in my early 20s.
Yeah. I mean, you know how the game is, right? But yeah, I would actually try to throw up intentionally just to try to get it out of my system.
Right. Quick.
But also, there were plenty of recovery days after I would drink to where I was messed up. I mean, my stomach was messed up, and I remember so many different times where I would evaluate my life. Literally sit back and be like, "What are you doing?" And why?
And it's tough because you know it. Like, I knew it. I used to drink quite a bit before. And I don't know if it's the freedom here in the United States, because I'm Colombian. Over there, it's expensive. It's expensive, and you do the bare minimum in salary, so you can really spend it like we do here in the United States, right? It's different, and you get bartenders that are friends, whatever, and you get it for free, right? Yep. Quicker, easier. Did Crohn's disease was one of the reasons why you founded ACE? ACE? Is it
Action Cultivates Excellence? ACE? Yeah. No, I wouldn't say Crohn's disease is. I think, so Action Cultivates Excellence, I started with my business partner and best friend, Sean Degnan. And we started ACE because it was the thing that we needed most at pivotal times in our lives. We both were, strong-looking men, but emotionally unavailable. And our message with Action Cultivates Excellence, we bridge the gap between masculinity and vulnerability. We teach men that it is okay to talk about your feelings. And we surround you with a group of men that have been through or are currently going through the same types of things that men face in society. Porn addictions, drug addictions, gambling, being dishonest in your relationships, lying, cheating, all the things that we face on a day-to-day basis is why this group was brought together. So Sean and I did it at separate times of our lives. Right? For me, it was reading books, podcasts, therapy. For Sean, it was the same stuff. He was fully immersed in personal and professional development. And then when we got together, we were like, man, I wish I had you, bro. I wish I could have talked to you when you were going through that anxiety and going through that depression. I wish I could have talked to you when I was going through that divorce. I wish, I had somebody to tell like, yo, my heart is broken right now. I'm hurting right now. But I didn't because I had to be this strong guy with a good-looking beard. Throw that in there, all right?
You got a good shape there, huh?
But, we promote that it is healthy and it is safe to talk to other men, and not even just men, women as well. Find a community, right? Because community is so important in personal and professional development. So that's why we created ACE. It wasn't necessarily because of the Crohn's disease. Crohn's just happened to be a part of the story that kind of fits in with it, because there are, we do have guys that are diagnosed with cancer. So it's good for them to hear, that, I've been through my experiences. Sean has been through his. We have two significant leaders as well, Joe Kay and Nick Menente, who have been with us from day one.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to my guys, because that's the other thing. I'm not up here because of myself. Like, I happen to be a face to multiple things that are going on in life, but you'd be lying to yourself if you think that you got to where you're at on your own. And even if you're an immigrant that has come here and built this by yourself, you didn't do that by yourself. Your parents brought you into this world, and so did God, right? So you have to remove that selfishness from you, in my own opinion, right? You have to remove that. And I'm at a point now where, like, I'm just a vessel. Just use me to the best of my ability to bring more people to God, to bring more people to become leaders of their own lives, and surround yourself with a great team like you guys have here. You guys are really doing some great stuff.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
We appreciate your time. And we're cutting it very close here to end our episode with David Regina. However, if you do want to know a little bit more about ACE program, please follow David. We will be giving out the platforms where you can find him, find his book, find the program, so you can get a little bit more of information. Thank you, David, for being here. And I want to close with some fun questions.
Let's have some fun.
We talked about spirituality, meditation, leadership, your book, and ACE. Now, let's get to know David a little bit more. When you first wake up, right? I mean, we know you pray.
Yep.
And you have a very strict routine. Do you drink coffee or tea in the morning?
I drink coffee.
Coffee? Is it Colombian coffee?
Is that Bustelo, or is Bustelo Colombian or no?
What is Bustelo? I think it's
I don't
Mexican.
know. I do Bustelo or the dark roast.
Now I know. I'm a bit chipping you some good coffee, okay?
I'll take some.
The book you're currently reading, we know, is 30 Lections to Lead. Is there any other book that you're currently reading?
The Bible.
The Bible. Beautiful. I love
Every
that.
day.
Favorite quote or a script that guides you?
You are your only limit. And we'll go to the Bible. The Bible talks about my interpretation of discipline. And a person without discipline is like a city with broken down walls.
Wow.
So back in the biblical days, if your city didn't have walls, you were very open and vulnerable to attack. So that's why discipline is so important in your life. You have to have those walls of discipline so that you're protected on all sides.
What's one word your daughter will use to describe you?
Ooh. I hope she would use. Right? I hope she would just use loving.
Loving.
Yeah.
Oh,
I hope. She might be mean. She's like, Dad was mean.
Oh, it would be a good episode
Yeah.
to bring her
Bring
on.
her on. Yep.
And what do you want your legacy to be?
So this right here is my legacy. What we're doing is my legacy. And I believe that legacy does not happen when you die. Legacy happens every single day. So I just hope to be remembered for somebody who showed up with intention, with integrity, respect, and kindness.
Thank you. Well, here you have it. David Regina came to Star Realty Podcast not only to talk about entrepreneurship, but also what truly drives him a day-to-day in his life.
Yes.
Thank you. You want to give a shout out to somebody?
Yes.
Do you have an important event coming up that you would like people to be aware
listen,
of?
I just want to say thank you, Camila. Thank you guys for having me, for hosting me. It's a pleasure and privilege to be able to just tell my story. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Anybody can connect with me on Instagram is the easiest place to find me at Dave Reg, DaveRegg. And you can check out my website, daveregina.com, and you can grab a copy of the book that we've been talking about.
How many we have?
30 Lessons to Lead.
How many did you
How many
dream ago?
copies? You guys ordered 25.
So we got 25.
Yeah.
So here's the deal, people. If you come to this podcast, we're going to be giving you a copy at no cost.
We'll sign it.
And he's going to sign it. What a gift, huh? We're going to be giving you a copy for those 20 next episodes. Entrepreneurs are coming here, so you learn how to lead with integrity.
Let's do this on the spot as well, all right? We'll go code 5STAR for an additional 15% off.
Oh, my God.
If you're not one to receive one of the free books.
Okay.
All right, so just enter
Awesome.
5STAR. We'll spell that out.
Thank you.
And we'll give you guys 15% off at daveregina.com.
Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
so kind. Thank you. All right. Until next episode, this is Camila from MCN Marketing Firm, and we hope you loved this episode. Like it, share it, comment, and here we see you next time. Bye-bye.